Hey, what is up, guys? This is Jerry here. Wow, haven't done that intro in a while on this channel. So, with the conclusion of Ben 10 Omni Force, and wow, it took a while, but we're gonna talk about all that. I just wanted to kind of give you a summary of the channel, where we're headed in the future. There's a lot of things changing. Some apologies to make, and reflecting on Ben 10 Omni Force, which is kind of like the last time I'll ever talk about the show. So, yeah, you might want to watch this video. This is very much like a podcast, so if you're watching, open up a new tab, browse the web, keep this open, and listen in the background. Maybe while you're driving if you drive, or riding if you're a rider. And just listen to the sound of my soothing voice that sounds like all the characters in Ben 10 Omni Force, because they were all voiced by me. Sorry, this is not going to be edited, so if there's breathing and coughing and stuff, I'm sorry. So I wanted to talk about Ben 10 Omni Force. So I kind of gave the summary of season 1, so I'm not really going to give a summary, but I do want to talk about specifically a lot in season 2 and then season 3 as well. Kind of talk about some of your theories and how I felt about the show. The ending, of course, the last 13 episodes, Remembrance, is really special to me. And I really want to talk about that. So let's go ahead and get into it. So how I created the show was when I was a kid, a little kiddo. I had all these Ben 10 toys, and I've always been kind of like a storyteller. So I would just kind of make these little fun episodes in my mind, and then I started filming some, actually, on a little flip camera, if you remember that. If you were around in the 2000s and you liked anything to do a video, then you remember the flip cameras, because everyone had one. It was a phase. I recorded some things on there. I have it on my PC. I was going to make a YouTube channel and just upload it there, but I was so little that I didn't even know really how to work YouTube or anything. It was a very different platform back then, and thank God I did not upload those. I mean, season 1 was bad enough with the... I'll get into that in a second. So, I was 12 years old, and I made a YouTube channel, but not for Ben 10, which is funny, because, Ben 10 I felt like was the most thought out idea that I've ever had. But it was for, this little claymation Harry Potter series that actually never ended up airing, because it was pretty dirty for the time. For my little, 12-year-old brain, 11, 12, God, I was a dirty kid, and Unclejerry50th turned out to be, the most innocent channel out of all of my channels, so, I guess my gaming one, Cherry50th, is, we'll get into that more later. God, I am so scatterbrained. I am sorry. I have not recorded a podcast in a long time. And I'm kind of nervous because it's my last video. Oh, well, there goes the spoiler. We'll get into that in a minute, Jerry. Calm down. So, basically, took down the Harry Potter videos. I started gameplaying. That was my first video. But really, I created the channel for Ben 10 Omni Force. If I can remember correctly, I think I created it to share the story of Ben 10 Omni Force. But the first videos were the Modern Warfare videos that I did on the gameplay, and I always thought of Unclejerry50th, and I've completely changed my thoughts on this throughout the years, and I think it kind of reflects as the recent videos. And YouTube was a very different platform at the time as well, so I always thought of it kind of as like a network, and you could have all these different shows on. So we had the Update podcast, which it wasn't even a podcast to begin with, but I didn't want to show my face at the time, and the only reason I'm not doing that now is because to stay in line with the videos. It's a classic feel. So we kind of turned that into a podcast, and we had the Jerry Reviews the Movies podcast, the Jerry Rants podcast, and then my Update podcast, and then at the end we kind of combined those into one podcast that never really saw the light of the day, because I wanted to do one for a long time, but I never really had time to when I actually got the idea for what I was doing, so kind of sucks. But at the same time, I'm glad I didn't start that, because it just wouldn't have ended up well because of time. So I created Benton Omni Force. I didn't know how to edit at all. All I really knew is that I could film on my iPad, which was an iPad 2. It was the first iPad with a camera. I didn't have a phone at the time because I was 12. I didn't get a phone until I was like late 13, I think. And even then it was a 4S, so I'm not even sure what camera was better back then, the 2 or the 4S. I mean, both were really crappy cameras. I think it was in 360p, even though it said it could film in 720, and I was always mad about that. So I started uploading, and one reason I really wanted to do this, because as a kid I always had the show and that kind of stuff, but it wasn't like an official show like Benton Omni Force turned out to be, was Malcolm009, and I saw his channel, and he had like this series of Ben 10, and it was his own little show and stuff, and I got inspired by that, and I wanted to do that. And then when I started uploading, I met this guy, JRS10510. I can't believe I remember these names. And he watched this show for at least season 1. I know, he was a big supporter, and he had his own little show. And so me and him kind of became buddies, and we started networking through that, and that's how I met Zach during season 1, LugiatsD2000. And now I'm like a co-host on his channel, which is really cool. I've been filling in for him while he's at college, so that's been really fun. And then I started the website work eventually, and between season 1 and season 2 there was a break, and I really didn't want to take the break, but I needed to, because I wanted to get a better camera first before I started filming. And Benton Omni Forces really started taking off, and the movie just blew up on YouTube, and it was probably it is my most disliked video, but it is my most liked video at the same time. And to be honest, I was kind of split. I'm like, looking back now, it wasn't my greatest production, and I could have done a lot more, but at the same time, like, it was a movie, and for me and my editing skills at that time, like, it was a lot. Backtracking, I didn't start editing Benton Omni Force. I would just upload it from the camera itself, and I started editing it at the end of season 1 because Malcolm taught me how. And a funny story is, like, I filmed the episode that I was planning on doing, and I messaged Malcolm, and I was like, hey, I have iMovie. How do I edit out my hand? And he was like, oh, no, it doesn't work like that. And so that kind of completely changed the platform of the show, because most of the time in season 1, it was kind of action-based, and I had to wait and get the figure set up because it was all one take. And then it became more dialogue-based after that because I was editing it. So, and I didn't have special effects at the time. So it completely changed, like, the platform of the show and how it was getting. But the story didn't change at all, which was good. And probably made the story even better because you didn't see a hand or anything. I mean, it made the production value a lot better, but with toys and stuff, I couldn't really animate it the way I wanted to. So the movie happened, season 2, there was a long pause. I started uploading a lot of other content, all these shows, and the only show I ever finished was the only show that I finished outside of YouTube as well, the Batman one, Batman Unleashed, and it was 6 episodes. And what I did was I wanted to, well, I'll backtrack a little bit, because I did it with a friend in one day, and we played together, and I made the story as we went, and it was about 6 episodes worth of content when we played it, so I basically just recreated that on YouTube, but all the other shows never really got done. And Benton Omni Force is by far the most long-running show that we had, because at the time, animation and a lot of TV shows were doing 26 episodes, and now it's kind of broken up to 13 and 13, or 22 is a big standard now, or just 10. So I really wish I wouldn't have made that much. Not that the content probably would have differed, but the quality would have been different, and I wouldn't have this 3 seasons. I'd probably split it up A and B into different seasons. Because towards the end of the show, like, Remembrance and Alien Surge had nothing to do with each other, kinda. It was completely different, but it was under the same season. because of that whole 13 and 13, and like season 2, I was like, I gotta do an A and B to kind of split up the storylines because of where I want to end on season 2, where I want the story to go. So as a kid, when I was playing with the show before it got on YouTube, the things I kind of took over to Ben 10 Omni Force, a lot of it was its own little new thing, but the movie I had played out before. The Haywire event I played out very differently, but I still kind of had that same idea. Ben losing his Omnitrix, the Ultimate Kevin storyline, both of those were played out. And the Alien Surge was probably the most complete played out, except instead of Vilgax, it was Agogor, and he was taking all the aliens and had to save them, so it wasn't anything to do with the Dark or Vilgax or anything. But yeah, so first 13 episodes, God, what was the first 13 episodes called again in season 2? I don't know off the top of my head, which is bad because, again, it wasn't really an A and a B back then. It kind of became that way during season 2 part B, but Haywire was really good in my opinion, but what I hated about it was that to do the different... I had 2 different storylines, and at first when I was playing it out, because I just kind of went as I never had like a script or anything. It's just, wow, my speech today is so bad. Let me take a minute, catch my breath, think about it for a little bit. I'll come back. So, my writing process was I never really wrote out a script. I was just, filming the episode, and I would voice it as I went. But I had general ideas in my head of like where I wanted to go and stuff. So I wanted to end with Vilgax destroying the Omnitrix. And so my original thought was play out season 2 and 3, and then introduce the Dark in 4 and 5. But 4 would be 13 episodes, and 5 would be 13. So it would have been like another season, but we would separate it this time instead of doing A and B. And after season 3, we would explore the Dark, and that goes back. And it was, at the time, you just kind of had to fill in the gaps, like, oh, that was why Ben was doing that. And then as I was going, I started doing the Haywire, and I was like, this would be so much better if I included the Dark in it, and it would make more sense. So I went ahead and I did the Dark storyline that I was going to do in season 4, and kind of intertwined it with the Haywire, which was really good, and it worked out very well. They kind of played off each other, but the problem was I really had to cut one of the two, and so like the Find the Light in the Dark episode 44, I think, was like a season finale episode, but it was like during the mid-season of part B, and then the Haywire stuff happened, and I had to really cut down on the Haywire. Like the final battle had to do with Vilgax in the Dark and stuff, but also I had to wrap up the Haywire storyline, so like that was the worst episode for the Haywire, because it was like I just cut down their content. Like it was mainly just like 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes of previously, and then the final battle between Ben and the Haywire just lasted like 30 seconds. But the ending to that was really good, and the reason I only, constricted myself to 10 minutes after part A finished of season 2 is like, I need to make this more uniform like a TV show, and I don't want to have some episodes that are like 20 minutes and then some that are like 5 minutes. So I really want to stick to 10, and I can go a little under or a little over, but not by much, unless it's like a big finale or something. So I really wanted to stick to the 10 minutes on the finale instead of going over, and I really regret doing that, I think. But besides the Haywire storyline that I would have liked to explore a little more, like season 2 ended up way better, and it was kind of like a soft reboot, because season 2 and 3 are a lot more connected than season 1 to 2 was, in my opinion, because they were just completely different shows at the time. Like the Dark and the Light, I had the idea during season 2. I didn't even have the idea going through 1. Like when Ben destroyed the Earth and stuff at the very beginning, that was just like a plot device. I didn't know where I was going to go with it or anything. Like I did not have it mapped out, and so there's little inconsistencies and stuff in the show that I tried covering up. But if I was to ever go back and I've thought about it before, like doing a book or like a actual TV show that I probably could never do. Because in my mind it would be really nice animated, not really live action, but animated, but that's just way too much money for someone to self-fund. So it was really meant for TV, and if I were to do a book, I don't think it would flow the same, and I would have to change a lot of things, because obviously I couldn't use Ben 10 as the copyright. So I don't know how I would get the aliens and all that. Like, it just wouldn't convert well. So I think I'm gonna leave it as its own little thing. But it's really sad too, because like some of the work that I put into it, like at the beginning it sucked. I'm gonna be the first to admit that. Like, the story was the only good part of the beginning. But like towards the end, it got really high quality for like someone that self-produced it. Like, it was taking me over 24 hours an episode. When you had the filming, the thinking about it in your mind, the editing itself, and then my Wi-Fi was really slow up until like halfway through season 3, part A, I think, is when I got the faster Wi-Fi. So it was taking like 5 hours just to upload these things, and then I finally got the faster Wi-Fi, so I could convert it to 4K 60 FPS, which was native, which was a really big step. So I could actually upload these like 30 gigabyte files in a matter of time, because like on my old Wi-Fi it would have taken a day just to upload it, and that's not even feasible, you know. So the production value and the special effects and stuff. Let me go back to that. So in season, I think I still want to go to season 2 a little bit. So I got the time period. The Light in the Dark was really fun for me. I'm glad I went ahead and explored it in season 2. I wish I could have introduced it in a way in season 1, so it was a little more uniform and connected, but I just didn't have that much time to. And season 2 got a lot darker than season 1. I don't know if it's because I really matured throughout that time or what, but the content just got dark. And then I remember someone, Kewan Gordon, I think, commented, and he's like, season 2 ending was so sad. I hope season 3 would be very uplifting, and it was just the opposite of that. So let me go back. So the season 2 finale, when I had Ben's watch destroying, I had that pitched out in my mind for, I think, at least a year before. A year before. So it was really cool when I got to that moment I could do it. And then I started thinking about season 3 a lot in that time, so I knew I wanted to do the Alien Surge. I thought Vilgat's destroying the watch would be a perfect transition to it, so I got that, and it was really dark. I wish I could have balanced it a little better, but I think the darkness had to, do that. Because, I mean, even like the finale of it, like, I'll be the first to admit, YouTube was not the place for Alien Surge at all, because it's like Ben 10 and the YouTube audience is very kid centric. And then, I mean, I get that it's kind of like a toy show, so it's not, I can get away with a lot, but like Vilgat's punching Ben until like the little 10-year-old Ben can't breathe anymore, like that is dark. I got the sound effects in season 3. The production value was so good in my opinion. I really am congratulating myself, because Ben 10 taught me how to edit and all that, and I'm so glad it did. And then Remembrance came along, and I really wanted. Oh, so in between season 2 and 3, my computer died, and that was really. No, it was during the big, like midway of season 3, part A. My computer just died on me, so I had to wait like a year to get a new computer to finally start editing again. And then I really wanted to, so I did that, and I got it out by that December, so it had been like a year, and that really killed the channel, because it was just like a year without any content. And then like I published like what 6 to 8 episodes, and then it ended again. And I wanted to do, so this is 2016, so I wanted to do Remembrance by 2017, and I wanted to end it in 2017, because that would be like a decent timeline. But I was just so busy in 2017 that it was not feasible for me to get it done. Which I'm really sorry about. I wanted to apologize for that. I know that I kind of let the channel die for a lot. Remembrance did not do as good as it should have, in my opinion. I think that it deserved the most views out of all the seasons because of it was great in my opinion. For the first time, I started doing reshoots, and I started doing a lot of special effects. So I think it was one of my best seasons, and it was uplifting and stuff because we went super dark, so I wanted to do it uplifting, and we had it planned out. Like by the time season 3 started, we had the whole series planned out and where we wanted to go. And so during Remembrance, like a few things changed. Like when Ben destroying the Earth and all that, we had it mapped out, but then like the way with the Earth and then connecting Lutza and space and stuff, that was like really beautiful. I think how that turned out, and that's one of my favorite scenes in season 3 altogether, and out of the show itself, is when he connects to Lutza for that first time. So we kind of changed things as we went, but ultimately for the better. The Omni Legends I wanted to talk about. So Genesis, the 3-part event. Originally, Unclejerry50th, when I started working with him on his channel as a co-host, we wanted to pitch a Ben 10 show. He knew I had mine. So I pitched Omni Legends. Instead of continuing Ben 10 on that channel and not doing it here anymore, I wanted to finish it here, and we both agreed on that. So Omni Legends is going to be either like a 5-minute episode, and then we were going to do 20 of them, or 10 and do 10. I personally would have liked to do 10 and 10, but Zach was more of a 5 and 20 type of guy. So we wanted to do that. So I filmed a pilot in one day, kind of rough and stuff, called it Omni Legends, and I thought it should be a prequel to Ben, so I had no idea about this at the time of creating the show or anything, but it actually turned out really just beautiful in my opinion. We decided it wasn't the greatest at the time. I'm glad I didn't start that because the timing would have been bad and stuff. I don't even think we would go past the season, to be honest, and I'm glad I'm doing the content I am now. I'm looking at T2000, not that. But I wanted to kind of incorporate that into Remembrance. So when we were planning Remembrance, we knew that on a linear timeline, we really wanted it to be the alien surge of Ben 10, the 10-year-old one, doing the Defender program and all that, and then really nothing happened except for the reconnection of the sun. We knew we had to get the sun back in there to be able to do the final battle that I had in my mind planned out for like 3 years now. And then, so that was like it on the timeline. So basically it's just the finale, and then the wedding was thrown in there. So we wanted to go back. We wanted to explain why things happened with the dark, which was really good. I purposely saved the spiritual master encounter in season 2, part A, for season 3. So I really planned it out well there, I think. So we thought, hey, why not Omni Legends and include some of the lore behind it, how the light and dark began and stuff. And so that was really, really cool to go back, and I don't think I've ever seen a show kind of have these many parts to it, because we had like the 2-part Sun event with the Spiritual Master, we had the 3-part Spiritual Master event with the Omni Legends, which was a really cool tie-in. Everything just fell in place perfectly, I think, and then we had the original timeline and all that, and so it's just these different little subplots all throughout Remembrance, and it was really great. And then the title is Remembrance, so of course we are remembering what happened in the past and stuff. So it was very good. We got to see the Ben connection and how it was, and like in the finale we revealed that, hey, it was Ben guiding himself all this time. Very Westworld type of ending, I think. Which is funny because I didn't even, like, the show wasn't even a thing when I started planning this, and we weren't sure how exactly we were going to get to the finale. And then even the finale that I had in my head, like, because it was constantly evolving over these 3 years of production in my mind, and then once we finally got to it, it even changed a little bit from how I had it in my head, because we knew Ben wanted to fight, you know. We kind of stayed true to the characters. So what would these characters do? Well, Whiny would fight because of Alan, and Kevin and Gwen would protect each other, and Rook would... I'll get to that in a minute. So we thought it was in character of Ben staying behind, and then him wanting to go fight and putting himself on the line, even though he knew there was no way to connect to the dark. And then we were like, well, how are we going to get to where he can get his aliens back? Because we had that whole planned out. And so all these things kind of just happened naturally, but with a lot of planning in my head, and then it changed a little bit in the show. So not everything was one to one, but again, we did some reshoots, like I said earlier, and one of the reshoots that I'm really happy we did was the one with Rook saving Ben at the end, because at the beginning, like, you can tell the lighting was completely different, and that's just because of the situation that we were in when we were filming the second time. So I wish I could have had better lighting, so you can tell where the reshoots were, and it was just to make it flow better, because at the, like, where we had it was like the ice melts away, Ben gets knocked out, and then he's like, I am not the light, I'm not the dark, I am Ben. And we're like, I was thinking, I was editing it, I was like, this just doesn't flow well, so what if we had, because then I thought, well, what if we had Ben talking to Ben, and it's like, who are you? Because he self-identified as the light all this time. We're like, well, now that we took that away from him, which is really important, because I didn't want him just to lose the aliens at season 2, I wanted him to lose his identity. And to show, like, he has been without the Omnitrix, without the light. He's still been. Excuse me, my throat's getting... I need water, and I don't have it. So, we had Rook step in and save Ben, and that was really important, because we wanted to... We always thought Rook was a major character, but we never really had these major plot lines for him, except when he, like, took over the Omni Force during the spiritual journey of Ben in season 2. So that moment interaction thing was really nice that we had planned out. And then the finale happened, which was just beautiful. We had the whole God aspect, and I want to get into religions a little bit, because we had a lot of it. We had a lot of Eastern mysticism with Buddhism and all that, with a light and a dark and a balance, reincarnation, and just a lot of it was Eastern mysticism, and there is no light and dark, everything is one, the whole oneness thing, transcendence. And then we had a lot of Christianity as well, with, like, God at the beginning, and that was, like, a huge risk for us. We're like, how do we get, and I think I handled it very well, to be honest. How do we get Ben to talk to God? Is like, because in the show, God created the light and the dark, and it says that in Genesis and the Bible and stuff. So we wanted that whole aspect to be a part of it, and I think I handled it very well. So you get all these different religions sprinkled in, and then the son is a little bit atheistic in a way, where he's like, there is no light and dark. I don't believe, I don't, or maybe agnostic is even better, because he's like, I see the light, I know it is, I don't believe it's good, I won't follow it. So you get a lot of different aspects of it that way, and I think it really turned out well. And then the voice inside my head, that turned out beautiful. And one of my, like, all-time favorite scenes is the Elena scene, when he's like, Elena, and he gets to talk to him. It's because he lost his wife in a fire, and this is the real her. And it's just so beautiful, because it's like, imagine if you had that moment with a past loved one, even if it was just for a minute, you being able to talk to him. It was very, like, a heaven feel to it, and Luke's provided it. And he even says to Lutz the first time he connects, is like, I don't want to leave this place. So it's very much like a heaven. And then we have to have Ben destroy his heaven and himself. So I wanted to confirm that Ben is dead. He did not come back in a way. His whole kind of timeline's just, it's like if Ben was never existed in that timeline is kind of what happened. So you see at the end, which I wanted to confirm is part of the canon, not the alternate ending, but the canon itself. It's like, and I accidentally cut out Alan in the shot, and I didn't mean to, but yes, Alan is with Whiny, and he's like, are you sure about this? And then you actually see what I didn't cut out. It's like, Rook is a farmer, so he never joined the plumbers, or if he did, he's a farmer now. He's taken the hero life off for a bit. He said he gets his happiness, and Kevin and Gwen have a baby, we hear. Whiny and Alan are reconnected. I'm so sorry I cut out Alan. It was a mistake, and by the time I published, it was too late to go back. So yeah, that was really cool, I think, to have. And so, did the 10-year-old Ben ever have the light? This is some conspiracy theory stuff. That's up to you to decide. There's a conspiracy that 10-year-old Ben is actually the younger version of the Omniverse Ben in the show, which is the main character. I'm not going to confirm or deny that. As far as the light thing, Ben is still connected to the light, and he never reincarnated, and then at the end you see the burning. So in my version, no, he's not. But at the same time, I could see if you say he's the 10-year-old Ben from previous, and that's actually him, then I guess he would have to be the light. So I'll leave that up to you, the viewer. Um, and then, there's an alternate ending too I wanted to do where Ben and his son never connect, and then they're enemies at the same time, and then his son takes the darkness. So that is an alternate ending if you want to take that. And then my alternate ending was actually going to be the original ending, where if we wanted to do a season 4 and 5, it would have been Ben becoming the dark himself and his son having to defeat him. And then season 5 would have been just the dark itself. So, I mean, really, you're not missing much, because we basically took the end of season 5, the whole season of season 5, and combined it with the Remembrance storyline after 2. So we got the whole, like, Ben just versus the darkness itself, and then that actually happened in season 3, so you're really not missing much. So that's just an alternate ending we wanted to show. My voice is really going, so I just wanted to talk about the future Uncle Jerry the 50th. I do not believe there will be any more videos. It's kind of a bitter end to it, but I really wanted to leave this as a toy channel, and like I said earlier, it was a different platform back then, and now it's kind of like you have to stick to one genre. So if you want to stay updated with all my stuff, I have all my other channels that I'm still active on. I have my personal vlog channel now, where you can see more of my life. I have the gaming channel, which I also stream on Twitch. You can follow that. All these channels are in, YouTube and stuff. You guys know how to use YouTube. I'm only GXD 2000 currently right now. When I go off to college, I don't believe I will be that active on that channel anymore. But I had a lot of tech videos, and then I had some top 5 videos I did at some point. And then my latest creation on GXD 2000 is Golden Age Cartoons, where I go through all the cartoons and stuff. I think you guys would really like that too. And then I'm making an album called Carrots. It is not kid friendly, so just keep that in mind if you want to listen to that. But I'll have a YouTube channel for that called DJ Tickles. And then I will have The Adventures of Jerry, which I wanted to talk about. That was a show that was going to be on Uncle Jerry the Video for a long time, then we couldn't animate it, and now I'm finally going through with it. I have about 3 seasons worth of scripts. There will be a 4th. After that, I don't think it'll be any more than that, but I'm making a channel for that too, and we'll be airing that stuff, so you guys remember the little animation phase I went through on this channel as well. Thank you guys for supporting Ben 10. Again, it was one of my passion projects. I'm so sorry that, I was just stuttering and all that in this video. It was not planned out. I was just talking, and my voice got really dry from the lack of water, so I'm sorry for that. But hopefully you learned some stuff about how I was kind of thinking and created Ben 10 Omni Force. I do want the show to speak for itself, so as for questions and stuff, I'm not really going to be answering those. So this is kind of all my thoughts about it. This is my last thoughts. This is how I feel about the show. Other than that, I'll let the show itself talk for itself. Again, I really hated the lack of content on the channel for so many, years, really. It kind of became a dead channel, and a lot of people didn't get to enjoy the end of Omni Force because they thought it was over or something. I'm really sorry about that, but I do think the last 13 episodes are some of my best. I spent so much time just sound editing, video editing, that I created so many different special effects just for these last 13 episodes. New intros and outros, just like what I started with first after Part A ended. So I really wanted to have it out by 2017. It was a struggle. I still don't know how I got it out by 2018. A lot of it was a blur, to be honest. I was a little bit behind schedule with the 2-part finale, but I did get it out by 31st, which is 2018. If you want to see a combined version of that finale with little different changes, you can go to GXD 2000 and you will see Part A and Part B together, which I believe is the only way to watch it, because they really should be together. It really I mean, it is 2 different episodes, but it is 100% a part A and part B. So watch them together. It's a lot better if you haven't watched it yet, or rewatch it. It'll probably be better the second time if you watch it all together. So that's kind of it. I'll still be active on YouTube, just probably not this one. I'm kind of leaving this channel behind. If I ever do a podcast or something, I might upload it to this channel, possibly. But I'll let you know if so. Stay subscribed. You can see all my videos from all my different channels. On this, I have playlists at the homepage, or I will. And it'll be Jerry50. All the channels on the same homepage. So this channel will act as kind of like a hub for all my different ones. So definitely stay subscribed, because although there might not be any new videos, you can always watch my old ones. I have a playlist now of every single episode of Ben 10 Omni Force as a complete series instead of breaking it up into the seasons, which is really nice. But yeah, stay subscribed, because it'll be a hub, and you can see all of my content from all my channels on this hub. Or you can always check out the website as well. That's going to get a couple updates before I finish it completely and be done with that too. So yeah, I'm just going to end it now. Bye, guys.